Hello everyone, Raven here, welcome back to the channel. I have not done a crime video in a while, so I figured this would be a perfect opportunity to go over one that is still not completed. I'll go over that in a moment, but first let's get to know the one that's missing. Her name is Sierra Lamar. She was 15 years old when she was moved from Fremont to Morgan Hill. Now first, Sierra was not happy moving because of her friends, her sister, her father were on Fremont. Now I say this because her mother and her father had gotten divorced. That is because of the inappropriate conduct her father was accused of, and he spent 1 year in jail according to my research. March 16th was the day was said to be her disappearance. Her mother, Marlene, kissed her, said I love you to her, and went to work early because she was said to be a physical therapist. Her daughter, like I said before, 15 years old, got dressed, went to walk to the school bus after her mother had already left. And it said that her mother, as soon as she got home from work, looked around for her daughter after trying to call earlier, make sure she got home from school okay. She never got any responses. She came home from work, searched around her house, never saw her. So she did what any normal parent who's missing and loving their child would do. She alerted the local authorities. She called the sheriff's office. Unfortunately, they did say you have to wait until it's been at least 24 hours, which, because they thought at first maybe it was just a classic teenage runaway is what a lot of sheriffs and police officers will determine a teenager to be, which is not true. Not all missing children and teenagers and things of that nature are because they wanted to run away. A friend of hers, while being questioned by the police after the 24-hour mark, did say that she thought about running away at one point because, like I said before, she was very unhappy with her mother for moving from Fremont to Morgan Hill. But she started to make acquaintances at the school now. She started to kind of get her own little life in this new area. So investigators searched the area for her. They started doing their, investigations. It deemed that there were 250 individuals that were on the currently active offenders list. That means that they were doing inappropriate things with minors. So they took a team, about 20 teams of 2 officers, to each of these offenders' homes. And they did investigations, they talked to them, determined every single one of them had a solid alibi. They weren't there, they had witnesses, everything. But the father, like I said, he did something inappropriate. He was questioned. It was deemed he had nothing to do with it. Then they started to look for more clues, find Sierra's belongings. They did find her belongings. They really did. They found all of her clothes that it was said to be wearing that day because she took a selfie of herself before she left her house to go to the school bus. Every single item of clothing, from the hoodie she wore that was in the photo to jeans, underwear, t-shirt, etc., they were all found within her backpack, along with her school stuff. So it did not look like she was trying to run away, basically, because there was no extra clothes, there was no food, there was nothing. They said that they actually found some foreign DNA onto the pants that she was wearing. So they sent it to the lab. And when they finally got the results back, it's a little bit shocking. They found it in the results showing whose it actually was. Now, the man in question's name is Antolin Garcia Torres. Now, he actually has prior convictions, or not convictions, but he has been suspected to have been trying to kidnappings and things of everything else to other women. This is based on where he was working at least at that time. Obviously, they're still searching for Sierra, so they created like a group of volunteers to help try to search a huge, broadened area to try to find her. Now, it was a nonprofit called Class Kids Foundation, I believe. They searched rugged areas around Lamar's home, and throughout the surrounding areas, they searched around a really wide range. And upon this search, they actually found something quite disturbing. They actually found some used condoms near a small box labeled, quote-unquote, stainless steel handcuffs. Now, they attributed the find to local teenage behavior, the sheriff's office did, but the items were found where teens like to park and hang out, but they were still submitted to the crime lab for further testing. Now, that we still cannot find Sierra, her disappearance indicated a more alarming sign. The investigation finally shifted to an involuntary missing person. Well, that's what it shifted to. Involuntary missing person, which means it was a kidnapping, essentially. So they saw nothing in her home life to indicate she would voluntarily run away, minus the fact that the one friend said she thought about running away at one point. But they actually found a text message from her phone to a friend or classmate at her school indicating that she was supposed to meet up with them to kind of exchange homework and things of that nature. So there's no evidence of her wanting to run away, at least as of that moment. I did mention this suspect's name, Antolin, already. They pull him in for questioning. They just ask if he knew her, things of that nature. He claimed he did not know her, but he also claimed that he was at the location where they guess was her final place before she was determined missing. Because while she lives in a little quiet area with not very many cameras, the school bus actually had a camera and actually showed that where her bus stop would be at, she was not there. So that means that the bus never saw her. So they questioned Antolin about how his DNA could end up on her clothing. And he says, well, I like to relieve myself of certain frustrations in my car. Basically what he said was he likes to jerk off into his car, relieve himself onto a napkin, and toss the used napkin out the window, which, I'm sorry, ew. Okay? Gross. I'm sorry, that does not work for me at all. That is disgusting. Unfortunately, as to where he lives, there are a few different people and things that say different things. So I'm going to go with the one I actually have onto the sites I found. Is that it is said he lives in an RV park with his pregnant girlfriend and his mother. Other places says he's already had a child with somebody, and now his girlfriend now is pregnant, but he lives with his mother. So I don't know if he already has a child or not, or if this is going to be his first child that his pregnant girlfriend has. Police put him under 24-hour surveillance, and they watched his every move. So there was 2 police officers that went undercover, pretty much moved into an RV across from his RV, basically, and faked to be a couple to try to get information. It was, however, proven that there was a camera at the entrance and exit of the RV park. And it did not line up with his story. Originally, he said he left by like 7:20 in the morning, when it proved that he left at pretty much exactly 7 o'clock. Said he was fishing for 6 hours, or that he went to worked for however long. I believe the first one I've read and heard about was that he went to work. Well, it was deemed that he did not go to work. No one confirmed that he ever went to his job, which he worked at the Safeway grocery store in the area, and he was a suspect of doing 3 different attempted assaults and potential abductions on women, but he got away with The women fought him off, or someone was walking up, driving past, whatever. So basically, he never got to do this action to begin with. The suspect did try to use the stun gun on one of the women, though again, he never actually was able to take her. One other one had a little pocket knife to defend herself. The man grabbed it, holding her basically hostage partially. He was frightened away with victim screams and people passing by. So basically, he was never able to pull off this crime to anyone else. Her disappearance was featured on the episode of America's Most Wanted, and now they said in the episode that if anyone knows any information, to please come forward. They never gave off too much information that they're actually investigating someone, that they have DNA evidence and all these other things. They did take Antolin's Volkswagen Jetta. It was a color red. And they actually did, they're investigating onto that. They've pulled a lot of evidence. And it's actually said, unfortunately, her DNA is on a door handle of his car. And her DNA is also on the inside of the car. There was a single strand of her hair caught within a rope in the trunk of his vehicle. Now, as of this point still, no one's found her, deceased or alive. So, we don't know if she's actually deceased or not. That's the worst part. No one knows where she is. The only one that knows is the person that did this, which, given all the evidence, his DNA on her DNA on his and inside his car. Now it says that they found a certain type of plant, I believe, on her jeans, which is very hard to find. It's very specific to a certain type of area. The same thing was found on his jeans as well. So that definitely points him to at least being in the entire vicinity of where she's been this whole time. For 3 years, they were searching for this poor girl. And on March 14th, 2015, her family made the extremely difficult decision to make that day the last day of searching for their Sierra. Over the past 3 years, as of, 2012 to 2015, which I'm sorry if I did forget that, when she was actually deemed missing. It was in 2012. Okay, so I do apologize if I did forget to add that. March 17, 2012. So I'm sorry if I forgot to add that little bit of information there. 2015, they stopped searching for her. Volunteers had conducted weekly searches in hopes of recovering her alive or her remains. This was the longest open search in U.S. history, according to ABC News. Now, Antolin eventually went on trial on January 30th, 2017. 4 months later, so that means his trial took 4 months long. While he pleaded not guilty, the jury found him guilty of all counts of kidnapping, murder, and attempted assaults on the 3 women at the grocery as well. This is very, very sad. Now, Sierra's mother made attempts to Antolin to reveal where she is. She said, "You could end this, you could repent, and tell us where she is. What if she was your child?" But he remained silent. He claims, even to this day, that he is innocent. But the DNA kind of proves that there was something suspicious. Now, he still refused, as of December 2020, he He refused to divulge any information about where she could be or anything like that. Now, he actually received a letter while in prison from a reporter named Amy Larson. Now, as of this point, when he got this letter, I mean, it's been since like 2022, so he got it within the past year. He responded to no other letters but this one. But here's where this gets interesting. Amy asked Antolin 4 questions, but he only answered 1. The question she asked was, "Do you still maintain your innocence?" His reply was, "Yes, Amy, I hold fast to my innocence." He did not give any reasons why others should believe that he is innocent. Now, she asked about the disappearance and possible passing of Sierra, and he says, "I'm not going to talk about the case." Before anyone asks, Antolin was given life in prison without the possibility of parole, which means he will never get out. Now, Sierra Lamar's family, they never held a funeral service for her because they said, or at least her father says, doesn't make sense without her body being there. Which, I get that. But this is one heart-wrenching story. I'm going to post as many pictures of Sierra in this video as possible, and very few of the man accused of everything that happened to her. He's going to get probably just a couple photos where she's going to cover the most of the video because I want it to be about her. Now, if anyone does have any information about her, please make sure you contact the California Police Department in the Morgan Hill area. Any knowledge for her family would be, I'm sure, much appreciated as of this point. It's been over 10 years, and as far as I know, there's still never been any knowledge as to where she could be, alive or not. So I do hope she is found, one way or another, even if she is unfortunately deceased. I do hope she is found. I do hope that her family get to have that closure of having her brought home instead of wherever she may be. If she is alive and just held captive somewhere, I do hope that she gets released and sent back to her family so she can live out the rest of her life. Again, we don't know for sure if she is deceased or not. Okay? So I'm going to go both ways about that. I hope that if she is deceased, that she rests well, rests in peace. She was a very beautiful girl, not going to lie. And I hope that her family finds her body. If she is alive, I hope that she is freed, I hope that she is brought home, and I hope she can live a good, healthy life. I hope you guys found this video to be informative. I sure as heck did. And I'll see you next time. Bye!